Hi and welcome everyone. My name is Dominique and this is my podcast. Hugs, Handshakes, Habibi. In this podcast I will speak about my life in the Middle East. I will tell you some fun stories I experienced here, and also I want to give you some hints what you need to see if you visit this amazing region. I hope that you enjoy listening as much as I enjoyed the recording, and yalla, let's start! Hi and welcome everyone, this is Hugs, Handshakes, Habibi. I'm Dominique, I'm your host, and today's episode is called Expat in Dubai, the good, the bad and the unexpected. So with that episode I want to speak a bit about my almost 3 years living abroad in Dubai. I want to share what really hit me unexpected, what I never expected when I decided to make this move. I want to speak about the good things, the bad things, and just to give you an idea, because I spoke now with a lot of people who currently consider to leave their country, to live somewhere else, either in Dubai or in other countries. Technically, it's more or less the same. So I think this is not only applicable to the UAE. I think there is a lot of stuff that is applicable also to other countries, and sometimes more, sometimes less applicable, but I think it's a general thing. But yeah, let's talk about it. And first of all, I want to speak about the word expat, because a lot of people didn't even hear it, and it's a very common term. So expat or long expatriate is a word for a person who resides outside of their country of citizenship. So for me, I'm citizen of Germany, but I'm resident of the United Arab Emirates and living in Dubai. And there are expats around, so you can have British people who live in the Netherlands and they are expat, or you can have German people living in Austria or in Switzerland. They are still expats because they live somewhere else. And this brings a couple of upsides, a couple of downsides, and so for me, when I came here, and you may remember the first episode, it was quite a short-term decision by my former manager, so I switched teams, but he's still a very good friend of me, and we still have contacts beyond work, and he got me here. And it was some kind of a short call, and I agreed without even knowing what I'm agreeing to, because I never lived outside. As I said in the first episode, I worked a lot of countries as an expert. Don't get it wrong, not an expat, as an expert for some stuff of IT. But I never left my home base, and that's the first time I left my home base. I was often criticized for not having outside of Germany experience in terms of residency and in terms of continuously working. It was always appreciated that I worked in the US, I worked in the UK, I worked in France, I worked in the Netherlands, but it was always a point. So that's why I did that. But that's the teeth of how I end up here. If you want to listen into the first episode where I explain it in more detail. So after 3 years, what's the wrap up? So the good side, I really enjoyed the weather. Well, I enjoyed the weather between November and May. The summer is not what I expected at all, and it's not what I was prepared for. I was here first in November, it was second time here in March. I relocated in May, and the first summer really hit me hard. First time in my life, temperatures about 50 degrees. The US guys need to calculate it in their Fahrenheit themselves. First 50 degrees, the first time a humidity of 85%, 90%, and the first time the situation that I can't leave the house literally for 3 months, maybe even more. I don't remember. So I was not prepared for a life inside malls, inside houses, inside offices. So that was something that hit me really unexpected. I know it's hot here, but not that hot and not that humid. Then the second thing, I really like the service here. So everything, there is a certain level of service, and it starts on the airport where there is a service level for the immigration and about the waiting time in the immigration, and it continues until you are at a grocery store, and there's always a cashier in standby. So if the queue is getting too long, they deploy a new cashier. It's about the restaurants where the people are really, really helpful, and they explain up to the point that I don't have to. I didn't visit a gas station for the last 3 years because the gas station is coming to my house overnight. They fill up the car and then they leave without any interaction with me. So this level of service is something that's really great, and I really appreciate it. As well, the level of security. So I think in the ranking, Dubai is always on the top list of secure cities in the world. And this is something, so here you can just put your wallet on the table at Starbucks, you go grab your stuff, you come back, the wallet is still there. You can leave your car unlocked if you forget it. Some people don't lock it on purpose. You can keep your house open if you forget to lock your house or something. It's still, all your stuff is in when you return home. So this is something that is really, really good. But this is also a bad side, because as it is here pretty secure, I recognize myself, I got pretty sloppy about security at the time I'm here. So every time I visit other countries, I need to be very careful and recall myself, this is not Dubai. So putting your wallet on a table and go to the Starbucks counter and order some coffee and come back, I think in most of the countries in this world, this wouldn't work at all. And if you get used to it, you do it. And that's it's not a downside that it's good here. The security is good here. It's a downside that you get used to it, and you may end up in uncomfortable situation anywhere else in the world. But this is something I really want to mention. Also, a downside is you will miss a lot of birthdays, anniversaries. You miss a lot of other stuff in your home country. So if you are living at the border and you just go to the next country, 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers, all is fine. Even if you decide, a lot of German people go to Austria and Swiss, and I know that a lot of French and Dutch people also go. A lot of Dutch people are in, I have to say Netherlands. People from Netherlands are in, don't want to offend someone, sorry. Come to Germany and work there, and vice versa. And if they live near the border, or even if they live in the middle of the country, it's always a maximum 5 or 6 hour car ride, and you are back with your loved ones. So especially if you have elderly parents, or if you have larger family gatherings or something, you can make it. For me, I always told my mother, in case something happened, it take me a maximum of 12 hours to come. But that means 12 hours I need to act immediately, I need to book the plane, I need to book need to arrange my work, and so on. So a lot of employees here in the region are aware of the situation, and they have certain procedures in place for medical emergencies with a closer family. But nevertheless, it will take time. And I don't want to imagine if something happened to my family back in Germany, and I'm sitting on the airport and wait for 4 hours to get the plane. So this is something you really have to keep in mind. And even with that, so I miss this year. I will definitely miss the birthdays of both of my nieces. Most likely, I will miss the birthday of my mother. So this is something you have to keep in mind. You will miss a lot of holidays, you will miss a lot of birthdays, you will miss a lot of other stuff as well that happened because life in your country is going forward and forward. So they don't wait for you just because you live 7,000 kilometers apart. Yes, we have modern communication, so I can reach out on WhatsApp, I can call them, I can call my friends, I can call people. I was interacting, let's say interacting before, but you will miss a lot of those stuff. And especially here in the Middle East, building a new community around you, a new friends around you is also a bit of a challenge because people come here and either they stay a year and then they figure out it's not what they expected, or they come for 3 years, which is the maximum service contract, working contract. We all have limited working contracts here, and 3 years is the maximum you can do. And that are people that decide not to renew their working contract and they leave, or you have people, they stay here forever, more or less, so 20 years plus. And these are the groups you have here. And unfortunately, the people are here for 10 plus years. They have already their friends and people over here. And the other one, you have to make an educated guess who make it longer than a year or who will leave after a year. And you have to make an educated guess after 3 years who will leave. And you shouldn't rely on those because they will go away at some point and then you start from the very beginning. So this is something I didn't expect, that it's that hard to find friends here. And when you speak to people and say, what's the hardest thing here, is finding friends. It's a tough thing, but you can do. So meanwhile, I have at least a few people over here I can rely on. We do desert trips and stuff like that, but it's hard to find them and hard to keep this ongoing and up. What I was prepared for, but I didn't expect it that complicated at some point. I'm pretty good I'm not pretty good, but I understood the law in Europe pretty good. I was exactly aware what I'm doing. I was exactly aware what's legal under certain circumstances and what shouldn't I do at all. Coming to the Middle East, I hit a different legal system. I hit different laws, and I spent a lot of time studying the law, not at a university, but reading the law, the text of the law, and try to understand what are my rights, what are my obligations here in the Middle East, so I can comply with them. And I think that's the important part, to understand where you are, what legal system is there in place, and how you can be compliant with it. I learned a lot about the tenant law when I had an issue with my first apartment. There's also an earlier episode covering that. I learned a lot about the laws and regulation about forming a legal entity, aka a company, when I was preparing for this. And I learned a lot of the rules when it came to driving on the streets, but that's a different story that need to be told. And I learned that insurances are working different here, so also an episode that need to be told in one of the next episodes. And so these things, I expected that this will come, but I wasn't prepared for that. But I was willing to learn, I was willing to understand, because when I go into a country that is not the country of my origin, I try to be compliant with all my obligations, and I want also to make sure that I get the benefit out of all my rights that are granted. So therefore I spent some time there, and this is something people don't tell you. The same about missing the family or missing the birthdays and missing events and holidays. This is all things people don't tell you on social media. So when you go on social media, you see always smiling faces, you will always see happy people, but no one really tells you the downsides. And this is one of my approach. I want to tell you what I expected or what I experienced. Sorry, I always mix up those words. So what I experienced, I want to tell you, and I want to give you a good overview about what you can expect. what's good, what's bad. So with that said, I'm already talking another 14 minutes, so thanks for listening in. If there are questions, feel free to reach out either through the comments or with the feedback form on Spotify. So please reach out. You can also reach out on Instagram or whatever you like, wherever you find my contact, please reach out, raise your questions, ask your questions, and I will put them on one of the next episodes and speak about that, because this is something I really think it's important to take that all in consideration. So again, thanks for listening in. I hope you enjoyed the show, and here next time. Bye.